This is the Girls of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're talking about the short-term and long-term mating strategies of men and women. I want to help you understand men a little bit better on this channel. I want to help you to understand what actually men desire, and specifically high-value men. Because if you're going to get one of those one day, then you need to know what it is he's looking for, and you need to know how he thinks. And it also helps if you understand how you think and how you look at the world. And on this channel, we don't focus on political correctness. We don't focus on that which is comfortable. We're focusing on that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. My definition for truth. We want the truth. And in order for us to understand the truth, we gotta generalize things sometimes. So all the stuff that I say, take it with a grain of salt, but in general, 80% of the time, this is how it works. I want to remind you that every single person on planet Earth wants to feel important. There's nothing more ingrained in us as humans than the desire to feel important. This amazing truth was something that I got from a book named How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Absolutely fantastic, recommended for everyone out there. But that's important to remember, that everyone wants to feel important. So if we use that as we now begin to learn a little bit more about men. Now there's two things that men desire in their lives more than anything else, and everything else can be included in these two categories. And it is confidence and an amazing sex life. What is included in the word confidence for men? He knows that if he gets confidence in his life, he's going to be able to get whatever it is that he desires in his life. It's as simple as that. You got confidence, you're going to get what you want. You've got confidence, you're going to get rich. But then you need to be confident that you're going to get rich before you actually get those riches. Then you get your financial empire. If you're going to be, he can be confident that he's going to be a fantastic athlete or have optimal health. And if he's confident about it, he's actually going to take the action necessary to get it, and then he's going to get it. And it's confidence maybe to stand before your maker one day to be judged according to your works on earth. I don't know, but that's what men desire to have, is they desire to feel massively and abundantly confident. An amazing sex life for men, on the other side, means that he has abundance. In other words, consistency. When he desires to have sex, he can actually have sex and is satisfactory. More important than his own satisfaction when it comes to sex is that the woman in his life receives massive sexual pleasure from him. What's that gonna do? It's going to massively elevate his confidence, which is going to spill over into every single aspect of his life. He's going to feel fantastic about himself, and life is going to be absolutely amazing. That's how simple guys are. And that's how important sex is to guys. Unless a man derives confidence from the fact that he is a virgin, because that's what happened to me. I actually, throughout my youth, until I got married, I was a virgin, and I was proud of that fact. Actually, it gave me confidence that I was a virgin. But for those that do not desire to be voluntary celibate and who are not able to have sex with someone, no matter if it's a non-committed relationship or in a committed relationship, it takes a huge knack on their confidence, and that is why it affects every single aspect of their lives. Sex is a reward system for men. We've used it as a reward system for the last several hundred years that, man, when I grow up, I'm going to work really hard in my teenage years and in my early 20s so that I can get married and have sex. And I have to work and save up money so that I can have confidence before the father of the woman that I desire to be with for the rest of my life. This is how the system has been for hundreds and hundreds of years. And that's how the society as a whole was being built up. steadily and consistently over a long period of time. And once they actually had sex consistently, they were married now, then they were able to contribute to society because now they desired to actually promote for their families. They were even motivated to keep this up. And they wanted the woman to be happy because when she wasn't happy, then he wouldn't get sex. So he wanted to make sure that she continuously worked hard so that she could be happy. And if she was happy, then he could get sex. And from the sex he'd be able to feel confident, which would spill over into every single category of life, and then their life improved as a result. Men who have families and who have regular sex are highly motivated to succeed for their families, but especially for their wives, because they want them to be happy. When they're happy, they get to have sex because the woman is happy. When the woman is unhappy, not much sex is going on. And even though it sucks to look at sex as a reward mechanism, and partners shouldn't be holding it away from the other partner because, oh, he didn't do this and he didn't do that. But I'm saying that it happens naturally. The man does something amazing, the woman is like, oh, hello. And then things starts happening. But when things are not happening, then she's nagging him and she's upset with him and she's not really in the mood. That's what I'm talking about here. Now, I promised that I was going to talk about short-term mating strategies and long-term mating strategies. As you can see, in the past, sex for men was a long-term mating strategy. They didn't want to have sex with girls outside of marriage because they could get her pregnant. And if they truly loved her, they didn't want that to happen because they'd be in a difficult situation and the child would be a bastard and the father might be really upset with the guy, and there was a lot of problems that could happen from the fact that they had sex outside of committed relationships. Majority of people during that time did not have sex outside of marriage because of the repercussions that it would have on the long-term mating strategy. Most men during that time didn't have a short-term mating strategy, and that was good for society. And I'll explain why very quickly after I explain to you about the female short-term and long-term mating strategy. There's a dual nature to women's sexuality. On the one hand, they desire stability and security, but on the other hand, they desire excitement and fun. Now, these two sometimes do not go hand in hand, and I'll explain why. On the one side of excitement and fun, what kind of guys do you think attract a woman? It's a guy who is confident. If he's confident, then the woman knows that he knows what he's doing and he's exciting, he's fun, I enjoy how I feel when I'm with him. And her short-term mating strategy is basically, I want to have sex with him right now. That's what her emotions are telling her. I want his babies. Even though it's not the right time for it, even though she knows that back in the day she could get pregnant, she could get all of these problems going on, but she wasn't thinking rationally. She simply wanted to feel close to someone, and maybe she wanted to rebel against her really annoying father who was being overprotective, and she would go and have sex with that guy. And that wasn't because he was going to commit to her, that was because he was confident. On the opposite side, you got stability and security, which is not so much of a turn on, right? You've got the commitment. If a guy is highly committed, that's a good thing for stability and security because it means that she would be provided for and protected by him. And she'd also know that the child would be able to be raised by a father together with her for things to run smoothly for them to have a family. Now fast forward until today. What is going on these days? We know that for society, a long-term mating strategy is always the best thing for society, but also the best thing for men and women. Scientific studies have made that virgins who marry virgins are those that end up having the best and happiest marriages in the long term. Marriages produces children, and children that actually have both parents present and that allows the next generation to become better than the last generation. That's good for society. That's good for families. Whatever's good for families is going to be good for society. We have to remember that. That's the long-term mating strategy. And on the opposite side, we've got the short-term mating strategy where we're basically putting off marriage, don't want to have kids, which is good if you don't want to have kids. And if you don't want to get married, don't get married, because that's just going to create more problems. The pill and birth control has allowed women now to simply use a short-term mating strategy without fear of being pregnant 99% of the time. Which means that most of the time, women are not looking for commitment. Now, the majority of people want to have long-term relationships. They want it. However, in this day and age, when there are so many options of people to date and have sex with, we hold off on long-term relationships until we're sure that this is the one that we want to have a long-term relationship with. We're going to eventually dump him, of course, but we'd like to keep our options open. Meaning, we're going to use a short-term mating strategy to get what we need, the short-term fix that doesn't solve the long-term problem. Men are exactly the same way. They want to have long-term relationships, but as long as she is the right one. They don't want to get in a relationship with someone that they don't really want to commit to for the long haul. And compare that to the past when men had to work a lot of years in order to impress the father of the girl and impress the girl in order to get her hand. Today, the father is not involved in a woman's hookup strategy. That's very dangerous because it means that the guy simply has to be confident with her and not with him. It's like the two-factor password that you've got on Facebook. There's only one password and it's easy for a guy to hack into the system. If there's two different passwords that have nothing to do with each other at all, one being subjective and one being objective about it, it's going to be a lot better for the long-term strategy of that woman. Because what is it that really a man needs in order for him to have confidence with women? Because women, they love confidence. But where did he get that confidence? The only reason why a guy has confidence with women most of the time is because he's got experience with women. In his teenage years, he started talking to girls, and then maybe he got a girlfriend, and then he tried to push and push and push, kissing and then petting and then did a lot of things in order to get inside her pants, and eventually, most probably, he got into her pants. Maybe he was a bit older when he managed to do that, but no matter what, that's going to attract another woman if he has experience in that department. Oh, I know that I shouldn't be doing that because that turns a girl off. Oh, but I should be doing that because this turns a girl on. In addition, he also has YouTube and tons of articles from players doing this day in and day out and sharing their thoughts on it online. Men are going to become more and more confident when it comes to approaching women, sleeping with them, and then leaving them behind. Suddenly we come to the point where men have no reason to provide and protect and commit to women anymore. There's no point. The reward has already been received. There is no purpose. Men's long-term mating strategy is consistency in sex. And guess what? If sex is easy and cheap, what the hell is the point of getting married? He has a black book with 100 names of girls that he slept with throughout his years, and he could just call one girl up and she needs it because she doesn't have any consistent long-term partner either, and they're going to hook up. Is he going to commit to that girl? Most probably not. The more sexual partners a woman has, the less commitment she will ever receive from a high value man. And I'm going to repeat myself again. Sex for men is a reward mechanism. It's a reward system. And when women give it up freely, cheaply, easily, then men receive confidence, which is all that they ever wanted, and an amazing sex life, which they're getting. Then what's the point of committing to women at all? As a short-term strategy for women, I mean, this is great. You get a lot of different sexual partners. You get to try a lot of new things. But as you can see, for some reason, we're having a lot less sex than our grandparents and our parents did. So there's something that's wrong with the system. Women don't want to just have a short-term mating strategy. Women don't want to have sex with someone, hope that something is going to happen because that guy was amazingly confident. Well, guess what? If he was amazingly confident, the probability that he's going to be committed to you is very minimal. We've got to help women in general to up their value, to make it more expensive, and to seek for commitment. Now, in the short run, that's going to give you a lot more rejection. Obviously, if your price is high, then few people will be willing to pay for it. But that's a good thing. You don't want just anybody to come in and buy your product. You want very few and amazing people to come and buy your product, and hopefully just one of them. So what I've done is I've put this into a system, or a matrix if you will, with 4 quadrants, where you've got the confident, non-committed guy that you don't want to have sex with. Very bad strategy, don't do it. No matter how confident he is, if he's not committed, scratch him off your list and never ever see him again. The second one you've got is the non-confident guy who is not committed. These are the involuntary celibates, the guys who are not able to get laid, but also they're not interested in commitment whatsoever. Obviously, we're going to avoid those guys. And then you've got the non-confident guy who is committed. Now, these are the guys who have what we call one-itis. They're the ones that are basically, they really want the in-love story. They love the Disney movies, and they just want to find one girl that they're going to treasure and love with all of their hearts, but they're not confident. In other words, they don't really set the bar so very high in their lives, and they'll accept whatever comes their way. Not a very good strategy for the long term to get a guy who is non-confident but committed. Even though he's committed, who cares? It might be better than being completely by yourself, being completely alone and depressed, because he's gonna love you. But however, as we know now, in marriages, the moment you commit to a guy who's not confident, and it doesn't really seem like he's going to increase his confidence over time either, you gotta understand that your level of desire for sex in that marriage will continuously decrease over time. And especially after kids, as we've explained in the past video that we did the other day. Don't marry that guy. Don't commit to that guy. Completely unnecessary. The guy you're looking for is the guy in the last quadrant, who is confident and committed. Those are the guys who are high value and the desire to have high value women with them on their purpose. They don't make women their purpose, they've got a purpose on their own. However, they want a short-term and a long-term strategy that works for them. Long-term strategy by committing to the women that they love. However, a short-term strategy in that committed relationship that makes it so that they actually are able to turn these women on because of their confidence and because of that little secret that we know to be 3 girls in love. There's simply 2 steps to this process for you. Number 1, be voluntary celibate right now. Stop sleeping around, stop dating. That's it. Number 1. Step number 2, begin to prepare for the right guy who will be confident and who will be committed to you for the long term, because that will allow you the most happiness. I can promise you the most happiness in life that you will get will be from that guy. And the less sexual partners you've got in your past, the higher value man you're going to receive in your future, as long as you also work on your exercise and making sure that you're beautiful as you can be, and continuously progress on that ladder of being the kind of girl that a high value man would want. This is the Girls of High Value channel. Make sure you like this video and share it with your friends, and I'll see you again in the next one.